Hello YouTube, getting ready to get started on messing with one of my older lights. I picked this thing up, I think it's been about 15 years now that I picked this thing up. It's just been sitting up on my shelf collecting dust. As you can see, it's definitely pretty dusty. But I picked this thing up out of a scrapyard. I don't even remember what I paid for it. It was actually wasn't too bad. That's the reason I bought it. The one thing I did like about it was the clear lenses with the red filters. I kind of like that about it. It's a, let me get a up close right here. So you can see what brand and serial number it is. Overall, this thing is actually in really good shape. I think the worst part of the entire thing is this one little small chip right here. These right there. That's the worst part of the entire thing. This obviously is just minor. I'm just going to see if I can get this off. If I have to, I'll cut it off. Use a thread cleaner, clean the threads up really good, and just get a new wing nut for that. I did test both bulbs. Both bulbs do work. The only problem I have is for some reason I have no power going to the top one for some reason. I don't know if the socket itself is messed up or if the wire's messed up. But I do know both bulbs work because I tested both of them. So I just got to figure out what's going on with that. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of mild disassembling on it real carefully. Try not to break nothing. Get in there, clean it up really good. See if I can figure out what's going on with that. So they both blink. But one of the reasons I decided I wanted to do this is I was going on eBay just looking up flashers of some kind. And I found this right here. Just a little flasher module. Very easy, very low tech. You have the two adjustment screws right here for your durations, for how long you want the light on, how long you want the light off. Now these little arrow things right here that show like your increase and decrease, it's very deceiving. This screw, you can probably spin this screw like 15-20 times until you get it to where you want it. So it doesn't literally just turn that little bit each direction. That's it. I mean, you have to turn and turn and turn and turn until you get this thing exactly where you want it. So I'm bringing that up. So if anybody does get one of these, you'll know that you're going to have to do a lot of turning on it till you get it just the way you want it. But they are very easy to dial in and get exactly what you want. So like I said, they're very low key, very easy. So that's why I picked it up. But I'm going to go ahead and plug it in real fast, kind of show you the one bulb that does work and what I have it set to at the moment. But my game plan, like I said, is going to be to pull it apart, see if I can figure out what's going on with that other one, get it all cleaned up, make it look really good again. What I do like about it is the fact that since I do have the original bulbs in there, it has that really nice, characteristics of when the light comes on, it gets real bright, and it has that slow dim down kind of look to it, which obviously, when somebody wants a tower light of some kind, that's kind of the look you're going for. So I'm definitely going to be able to keep that look, which I'm really happy about. So the next step is to get in here, figure out what's going on with that top piece, get it all cleaned up, and see what this thing all looks like all done. All right, so I got the filters out. And that was actually a very easy repair that I didn't have to repair. Let me kind of explain what I'm talking about here. Okay, so obviously you got your three wires. Normally you have your common, your neutral, and your ground. Well, the way they have this wired is they actually have the green wire, which would normally be a ground wire, actually running as a common wire. And that one's going to the top socket. The black one's going to the bottom socket. And then the white wire, which would be my neutral, is running to obviously both sockets. So essentially the way they have this set up is they have it set up to where it's actually broken into two circuits. So I don't know if maybe it was set up to where like they'd only have say one of them running, and if say that bulb burnt out, they could switch to the top one until they get a mechanic up there to change the next bulb. I'm not sure if any tower people that are familiar with this kind of stuff, leave me a comment, let me know, because I'm not really sure. I don't know if, or maybe they did it to separate, because I'm pretty sure these bulbs definitely pull a lot of power. So they, probably for amperage purposes, maybe they were running it on two separate, circuits. So this way it didn't overload anything. I'm not sure, but it was an easy fix. I didn't actually realistically have to fix anything at all. All I had to do was just put the black and green wire together for my common side, the white on the neutral side, and you see, voila, top socket's working. So now realistically, the next step is to get in there, get everything cleaned up really good, put the filters back in, get those all cleaned up really good. Obviously clean these threads on here, put a new wing nut on there, and then I'm going to change this wire out because this wire is pretty dry rotted, pretty crusty. So I'm going to pull the wire out, run a new wire in here, probably take some double face tape, mount this to the back here, run all the wires inside, and then just run a single plug outside. So all I got to do is just plug it in. I really don't want the box inside because obviously I want to adjust the flash. I want to be able to get to it easily. So that's why I don't want to put it on the inside. I'm just going to make it to where I just have a plug coming out. But let's get in there and get this thing cleaned up, put the filters back in, get that mounted, and we'll see the finished product. All right, to kind of show why I wanted to change the wires, see how brittle these are. Essentially, I can just see this being, obviously, a bit of a fire hazard or shorten things out or burning up my box because, it's coming apart. That's why I'm changing this wire. I just don't think this wire should stay on there, especially if I'm running, 110, power through it. So luckily those came right off, no problem. I'm going to take my vacuum. Now I'm going to vacuum all this out really good. Then I'm going to get another wire and push another wire through there and get it wired up. All right, just to kind of show what I got going on here is I just have just a 2-wire 12 gauge, which is pretty much what was already in there to begin with. And then what I did is you can see where I have the one going to the center, and then I created a jumper to go from, sorry, my big finger here, from there to there. So this way I only have to have 2 wires come out instead of 3 wires come out to power both bulbs. And the other reason why I wanted to kind of leave this on the outside instead of have it all nice and tucked up inside there is you can see these are very small wires on this thing, and it has a fuse. So just in case it pops the fuse, because I haven't really been able to, I haven't tested it yet to see if that thing's really going to be able to hold up to these 2 bulbs running at the same time. So just in case it pops, I want to be able to get to it or change it out to something stronger. So that's why I want to leave it on the outside. So that's why I'm just going to be doing it this way. Plus it also sits up on the top of the shelf, right in that little cubby hole right there. So once it's up there, I don't want to have to try to get up inside there and try to figure this out. So but I'm going to go ahead and finish wiring it up, finish getting those cleaned up, get everything put back together, and let's see what it looks like. All right, so I got everything put back together. I did get this loosened up. I do got to get a new one for it. What it is, I just did a relief cut in it. You see, I just like that, just so it took the pressure off it, so I can spin it, so I can use it. I just got to get a new one of these. You see, I got all the filters back in, got the bulbs back in place like they're supposed to be. Like I said, other than just getting a new wing nut for here, Everything is as clean as it's going to get. I mean, there is some kind of, like up here that I don't know what exactly it is. It doesn't seem to be coming off. I mean, I've wiped it and wiped it. It just doesn't seem to come off. But overall, it definitely cleaned up much better than it was when I first started. I got the box all wired up. What I did here for the wires is before I put this piece back in, I took a washer and a couple of zip ties and put it on the actual cord, so this way the cord can't get pulled out. I left plenty of slack inside there, so I didn't got to worry about it pulling on the distribution block, so I'm safe there. Got the box all hooked back up together. These two are the ones that run into the light. Then here's the cord right here. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and show you what it looks like. See, it's actually it's working pretty good. Now, like I said, I can adjust that and maybe make it to where the light stays on for just a little bit longer. But I think the actual timing of it being off to coming back on, I think is actually pretty good. So I'll probably leave that alone. It actually works really well. It actually looks pretty good. So what my next step is going to be is I'm going to get it put back up on the shelf. I'm going to run a cord to it, and I'm going to give it a nice long test run. I want to see exactly if this box is going to hold up. Just so just so everybody can see, was this worth picking up for, say, something like this, or if it's just not strong enough to hold up to powering the large bulbs that are in here and not running like an LED kind of bulb. So I'm gonna get it back up on the shelf, give it a test run, and that will finish out this video. All right, I went ahead and got it back up in its spot next to my 4-way WS Darley. I'm just going to let that sit there and run for a couple hours just to see if that box can hold up to it. And I will let you know the conclusion. Okay, it's been about 3 hours since I plugged it in. It's been running consistently. The box itself actually is has a little warm. It's not hot. It mainly is mostly right in this spot right here, that's probably where the relay is. The rest of the box isn't warm at all. It's literally just right in this spot right here, but it's not hot. It just you can definitely feel a little bit of warmth on that, but it's also, you got to think the size of the bulbs that thing's pushing power to. But overall, actually, this thing actually has held up really well. Obviously, the fuse hasn't popped or anything. But after about 15 years, I'm actually kind of glad to see that I got this thing actually doing its thing, where it's actually flashing and all that. If y'all enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and thanks for watching.